I'm Paul McVetti, Dean of the College of Hospitality Management at the Providence campus. I'm the Dean. Thank you for joining me for our premier Visiting Industry Professional Series. As a courtesy to guests and one another, I ask everyone to take this moment and silence your phones. Thank you very much. Before we begin our program, there are several guests and university community members to recognize. We have two generations representing the 74-year-old family-run Bigelow Tea Company with us today. Our visiting industry professional, Cindy Bigelow, and her parents, David and Eunice Bigelow. They are the company's co-chairs. It's also an honor to have several members of the university administration joining us. University Chancellor Mim Rooney, Providence Campus President Marie Bernardo Souza, University Provost Billy Leclerc, Vice President of Experiential Education and Career Services Maureen Dumas. In addition, please join me in recognizing Gabrielle Grunin, a restaurant, food and beverage management major with an anticipated graduation date on May 2021. She is serving with great enthusiasm and professionalism as a student host to our visiting industry professional. Gabrielle. To our students, faculty, staff, and guests from the Rhode Island community who are here with us in Schneider Auditorium, and those viewing the live stream at our Harborside Amphitheater and each of our branch campuses, North Miami, Denver, and Charlotte, welcome to all. Today marks the first of Johnson & Wales University's newly established Visiting Industry Professional Series. Cindy, it's our honor to have your parents here to launch this program. Thank you very much. The Visiting Industry Professional Speaker Series, called VIP for short, evolved from discussions among the university's academic leadership. As we were evaluating value and outcomes of certain student-centered programming, these conversations were part of a deep and thoughtful reflection in the development of our 5-year strategic plan, which we titled Focus 2022. Until then, our individual colleges engage with industry professionals on campuses in a number of ways. The long-standing Distinguished Visiting Professor and Distinguished Visiting Chef programs brought industry professionals and students together, but within a specific major and within a single college. It was during the process of formulating our bold and ambitious strategic plan that the university embraced the development of an interdisciplinary curriculum that would allow students to explore and navigate careers in a variety of industries and professions. To support this, the VIP series was designed to bring industry professionals who share our mission, our quest for innovation, and our entrepreneurial spirit to campus. With the VIP series, Johnson & Wales students, faculty, alumni, and staff from across disciplines and departments can explore the many facets of industry that are relevant to JWU's extensive academic programs through the experience of one well-versed professional. With Cindy Bigelow, we have set the bar high for this exciting series. Cindy is the third-generation CEO of the 100% family-owned Bigelow Tea Company, which is based about 125 miles south of Providence in Fairfield, Connecticut. The company was founded in 1945 by Cindy's grandmother, Ruth Campbell Bigelow, who was born right here in Providence. Ruth's determination and creativity to formulate a better cup of tea resulted in the United States' first cup of specialty tea. This blend of black tea with orange rind and sweet spices received many comments, so many positive comments, it was so named, Constant Comment. 75 years later, Our visiting industry professional carries on her grandmother's determination and creativity. Cindy has been instrumental in expanding the company's portfolio of tea products that includes 2 billion bags annually, 2 billion bags of tea, in 150 varieties. While Grandmother Ruth employed old-fashioned word of mouth and to first promote her tea, Cindy has expanded the company's social media outreach and innovation advertising concepts. One of the most important things that the Bigelow family and everyone at Bigelow Tea tries to do is make a difference and do the right thing. It's ingrained in the Bigelow's corporate culture and pertains to all aspects of its business. Here's evidence. 100% of Bigelow's boxes are recyclable. Bigelow Tea is a zero waste to landfill company. It has raised nearly $2 million for local charities, and through responsible sourcing, 67% of its teas are certified sustainable. We now have the opportunity to hear firsthand how this remarkable company and its leadership have achieved its global reputation and impact. Maureen Dumas will host the interview portion of our program with our guest, visiting industry professional Cindy Bigelow.
Okay. Thank you, Paul, for that great introduction. Cindy, on behalf of the university community, we're so delighted to have you here today and tomorrow for our graduate studies ceremony. So thank you very much.
Listen, thank you for inviting me. This is a big honor.
Cindy's done a lot to prepare for today. She was actually on campus about a month ago and met with some of the students to make sure that the questions that we're asking were on target and that they were of interest to the college students in the room. So I want to commend you for all the research you did and the time you spent with us to get ready for today.
That was a great day. I really enjoyed. I heard some wonderful things from the students, and that's all about is if there's any advice that I possibly have that's of value to you guys, that's why I'm here. So.
How many students were here and met with Cindy when she was on campus? We can have students raise their hand. I know we have quite a few of you.
Well,
right?
Oh, that's Daniel back there.
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
That's one.
Yeah.
All right.
I
guess Gabby.
Very good.
Oh my God. I have 3 here. I'm so happy. Thank God.
Well,
that's how popular I am.
There you go. First question is about career path and journey.
Okay.
We have many of our students here anxious about accepting that first job and trying to envision what their career path will be like. And it's hard to articulate to college students that that path is not linear, that it's not a straight line, that they will take many left turns that are unexpected, and that they can't plan for everything as they progress through their career. They're sometimes afraid of making that first step or making a mistake. What has your journey been like, and what can you share with the students to tell us about where you have gotten to today?
Well, that's a great question and a difficult one. I just want to index back for just a second to say that if you guys also, if anything I say that you want to ask additional questions to or something I don't mention, I love that. My favorite part is when you guys start to ask questions, which makes me feel like there's something I said that was good for engagement. So please also make sure that you're, I guess, texting in any questions you have or whatever. That's really great. So in terms of the next path, the next steps, I am fortunate to be able to be in front of students quite often. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I do think there's a lot of concern about what that next step is. Is it going to be the right step? Is it going to be the perfect step? Whatever. And obviously, I'm further down in the career path. But, what I like to say to individuals that are sort of looking at what that next journey is going to be is that whatever you're doing, yes, it's important, but it's almost secondary to who you're going to become down the road, because whether we like it or not, you're going to have great things you're going to do, and then you're going to have things that you're not really liking you're doing. You're going to have bosses you like, bosses you don't like. It's just part of that path. And so to me, it's more just learning about what you do like, what you don't like, and who you want to become and what's important to you. I was talking to Gabby earlier today, and she had a situation where she was working for a boss that was really not very appreciative of her, and so it was very demotivating. And so you're going to have these experiences that I love every one of them to be great what your next step is, and your next step, yes, it is important, but it is, to me, almost secondary to who you're going to become and what you are going to be doing, and really learning and taking those moments. Some of my best teachers have really been, you know, when I did have not a nice boss that really was making me feel pretty terrible or doing things that I thought was awful. I look to today, and you asked me what my journey's like. My journey's a culmination of every single step that I took, whether I knew it or I didn't. When I used to work for Seagram's, I'd make a sales call, and the guy wouldn't even look at me. Like, he would just have his back to me, and I was trying to make an impression like, please look at me, please pay attention to me. And, you know, that hurt. It didn't feel good. But it taught me about, okay, all right, we got to get past this. What are we going to do? And it really, it built more respect for me when I'm working with people to never make them feel like this individual, and many individuals, would make me feel. And it made me understand what some people are really going through when they're trying to get to where they need to go, and they really have these walls up in front of them. So you're going to make mistakes. I still make them. I wish I didn't. But, you know, it's going to be part of the process. What I would say to you is, when you do make a mistake, whether it's in the job that you like but you make a mistake, or it's a job that you do that, you know, is not quite the right job for you, I ask you not to index too far the other way, all right? Because that really wouldn't do you any good. So when you do make a mistake, you know, self-correct, self-reflect. I ask you to look at yourself first before. It's very easy to blame the person in front of you that's not being good to you. But you've got to really do that self-reflection to help you. So it's a series of steps you're going to add together. Everything you're doing is a building block. Whether you like it or you're not, it's a building block for what you're going to be down the road. So if you can think of it that way, maybe it will give you a little more patience in what you're doing. Maybe you'll be more patient with yourself. Maybe you'll be more forgiving when you do make a mistake, although I'm pretty tough on myself when I make one. But yeah, it's going to be a journey of a lot of twists and turns. It definitely was for me as well. And I didn't even realize their value until I am in the seat I'm in today, how every bump was actually a good one.
Right. Having faith in themselves, you know,
Yeah.
that it's okay to make mistakes.
It's a building block. Everything is a building
Yep.
block. You have no idea how they're going to connect together until later on. So that's easy for me to say because you're still in the building block stage. But be patient, learn from it, and self-reflect, and don't go too far the other direction when you do run into do make a mistake.
Great. University of Michigan faculty Quinn and Roba identified a competing values framework that we talked about. It's used to measure organizational effectiveness and leadership. When looking at the values at Bigelow Tea and comparing it to your own personal values, how do you balance the competing assumptions, whether it's long-term goals or short-term goals or fast wins versus that long game, while also maintaining the creativity and the long historical standard that your parents have built in your grandmother as well?
Do you think you could put any more into that question?
Hold on.
Okay. Okay, that just hurt. Okay. So I heard competing values.
Yeah.
That's a big one that I talk a lot about, is competing values. You're going to definitely experience a situation when you're both personal and business, but when one value is really kind of crashing into another value. I deal with it all the time, such as, you know, let's say I want to be loyal to a long-term employee who maybe isn't keeping up with what's happening in the marketplace. You know, so you've got to really kind of figure out how to get that. And what I've learned, if I can help anyone in dealing with competing values, which we deal with constantly, what I had to learn, and I learned painfully and by mistake, is that first it's important to recognize what are you trying to accomplish when you're dealing with the situation. Think about the mission first. Forget everything else along the way. And know that you want to kind of get to this place in a way that you can still look back on who you are and feel good about yourself. So that often means to me that in trying to find a solution, it's not just the two that you think are in front of you. It's not just A or B. There are more solutions out there, but it just takes a lot of time to really kind of figure out what other pathways are there. And then lastly, it's really developing your voice early. The beauty of being young, besides being young, is you have all this time to develop your voice. And so developing your voice on talking about these very difficult situations when you've got competing values like this, on these very difficult conversations, is something really important to learn early. It took me a little while to get to learn that voice, and it's only after I stubbed my toe enough times that I recognize that the only way I'm going to be able to solve this is by having these difficult conversations. And then I think you start to kind of figure out how to navigate competing values. And then it takes out long-term and short-term. There shouldn't be a long-term, short-term issue. I mean, maybe in public companies they have to go quarter to quarter, but if you do such short-term, you're not helping for the long-term. So I try not to do anything that is really going to help the short-term. I don't mind short-term wins. That's great. So I can launch a product line that I think is only going to be able to get a 3 to 5 year run. That's fine. But everything I'm doing is still to build the brand, build the relevancy, build myself in front of the buyer. We're sort of the tea of choice for bringing new, exciting things to the marketplace. So you shouldn't have to ever deal with short-term versus long-term. It really always stay focused on the mission. How do you get there in a way that you feel good about, and finding creative ways. Be careful with the word creative, but creative ways to get there that you can still feel good about yourself. And I will tell you, how you deal with these things when you're young is going to become sort of habit. You got to be very careful, and everyone is a role model when you walk into whatever business you are. And so how you're acting and dealing with these things is other people are going to see that, and it's going to influence their behavior as well. So don't ever forget also that in how you deal with some of these situations, you are a role model for all those around you, whether you realize it or not.
Yes, and I think every day they'll experience that themselves, their own values versus the values of the company that they choose to work for, or even the values of the school that you go to.
Well, I see a lot in business with young individuals that, like, sometimes you'll have a situation where everybody is doing it, whether it's maybe a little change on the expense report or it's just everybody's doing it. So it's not that big a deal because everybody's doing it. And it's just a small little thing. Or if you submit your phone bill, you can get paid $50 from the company even though you're not paying the phone bill, or little things. It doesn't really make a difference in a big business. But I am going to tell you that it really will. It will affect you. It will change your decisions longer. So I don't want to sound too Pollyannish, but if you can really kind of recognize that early on, and I'll just give you a little story I'd love to share, if you don't mind. It's called the stamp story. My father's sick of hearing it. So I had just started working at Bigelow. I was 3 days in, and I was feeling pretty special. I had my master's, thought there was, whatever, all that in a bag of chips. And, okay, this is going to age me. I have the first PC in the company. Okay, no smiles, no laugh, no giggles, nothing. First PC.
They can't even imagine that.
All right, I know, it's not even funny, right? So I'm setting up the bill of materials and whatever, stuff that, whatever, I like to do. And my father comes in after 3 days and he says, "How's it going?" And he looks like he's kind of wants to say something, and I'm like the proud, like peacock feathers are coming out, and I want to tell him about all the good stuff I'm doing. And I can see he's sort of got something on his mind he wants to share with me. And I said, "Yeah, what do you want, Dad?" After I start to tell something and he's not really listening to me. And he goes, "We have an out basket." I don't know if they still have these things anymore. "We have an out basket, and I see some of your envelopes in there." And I said, "Yeah, I put some things to mail to some bills. I put them in the out basket." And he says, "Yeah, but they don't have any stamps on them." And I said, "Well, I thought they could just put the stamps on them when they get them down, they pick them up and put them into the mailroom." And he goes, "Yeah, but if you don't put any stamps on yours, why should the other employees put stamps on theirs? Why don't you go get them and put some stamps on them?" And out he walked. Great. And I was like, my first conversation with my father is about stamps? What a great story, right? What a great lesson. Yeah. What a great lesson. It sounds so funny, but I hope if you remember nothing else about me, which you probably won't, remember the stamp story, because you're going to run into a lot of those situations. They make a difference.
That's a great story.
And people are watching you.
Yes.
They're watching you.
Okay, question 3 is about family-owned businesses. Bigelow Tea, as we heard from Paul, is third-generation family-owned business. And the statistics are pretty daunting in terms of success for a family-owned business. Less than 1/3 of family businesses survive the transition from first to second generation. We know you successfully did that. And another 50% do not survive the transition from second to third. Here you are, third generation. What do you believe has allowed Bigelow Tea to thrive for over 70 years and beat all of those statistics?
it is a tough transition. It's hard. I think that we were able to do it because we're very much focused on mission over self, and that's something that I say a lot to my team, mission over self. I think when self gets in front of mission, it's a real issue. I do also have a wonderful exposure to a lot of family businesses, and sometimes I hear the next generation sort of talking about things that I don't understand why that's important to them, like the car they drive or the size of their office space or their title. And I understand we're all human, but you have to have mission over self, and that was very important when we were passing it down. You know, we tried a lot of things. We did the old consultants and the seminars, and not to take anything away from who are consultants in this business. You're doing a great job. But it really, for us, it really did, I love when I say this, it boiled down to. You like being in the tea business, they boil down to? Okay, whatever, let it go.
We got it.
But it really did boil down to mission over self, and really trying to make sure that the love really was there and stayed there. And then lastly for me, which really was important for who I am today, was learning to really look through the eyes of the people that it was an issue for, right? I mean, to be honest, my parents are here, so I can't say too much. But I mean, I ended up really, in my opinion, I ended up almost looking like the Grim Reaper, because this was their life. This was their livelihood. This was everything they had built. And I was like, ready for the baton, please. Where's the baton? I'm ready for the baton. And they really felt, in my opinion, looking through their eyes, that, oh my God, if we give you this business, what will we have? We'll have nothing. And that's a really important skill set for me to develop, was looking through the eyes of them and to understand it. They weren't bad. I wasn't bad. That was their opinion. That's how they felt. That's how they thought. And to try to understand that helped make it easier for me to have a better and a richer conversation with them, to help all of us together navigate to the other side of that, you know, that very small percentage that makes it. So as a leader today, I use that skill set all the time in trying to have a lot of difficult conversations, is really look through the eyes first of the people that you're having any conflict with, and just try to understand. Like, again, Gabby and I were talking about this particular manager that was very not nice. And I said two things. One, you don't have to wake up in the morning and be her every day. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And two, it doesn't matter. That's just how she is. She's just not a happy person, and you're just going to have to get around it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We did it, though, thank God.
Sorry. Here you are. I have to share with you, your dad shared with me how proud he is of you and how much the company has thrived under your leadership. So that third generation is doing a fantastic job. So just want to commend you on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a gift. A family business is a gift. Oh,
yes.
My mother's hands up. She's proud, too. Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
A family business, it is a gift. It is a gem. It is a gem to be taken very seriously and treated very, very carefully. They are beautiful entities, and they need to be taken good care of.
Wonderful, great. Next question is about enthusiasm. For the people or the faculty that are in the room that know you so well, you are one of the most enthusiastic people, high energy person I've ever met. I mean, a whirlwind.
Not more than Michael.
I don't know. But I want to take that concept, and we have a room full of college students here, and they chose their career because they have a passion for it. They chose their major because there was an interest there that sparked something inside of them. They chose Johnson & Wales because of a reason, a passion. And we want to make sure that these students continue to have that enthusiasm for their industry and that they're inspired to do what they're doing. How have you kept your enthusiasm, this energy that you have?
Mom, any ideas? She always said I came from somewhere. Yeah, she said
hereditary.
I
love it. Good genes.
No, she used to say, I don't know where you came from. There's something wrong with you. Listen, everyone has different levels of enthusiasm. There's no one right level of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is just trying to enjoy and appreciate what's in front of you, right? And for me, I have just found that the more you can try to hold on to whatever level of enthusiasm you have, it's your own, but to try to hold on to that, a couple really, I think, great things happen. I think doors open up for people that can hold on to that, you know, just positive thought process And I also think it really, it brings people around you, because people want to work with people that are sort of have that spirit. So it's not easy to do. It's really, how do you keep that spirit when someone is not being really positive to you, or you're having the sales guy's turning his back to you and you don't even exist in that room. You know, how do you maintain it? And that's not easy. I don't have any like secrets for that. It's just really, really trying to, because the more you do, are able to hold on to it, the more people, as I said, will gravitate to you, and I do think that doors will open up. Like, it's interesting, I was in an airport the other day, and in this particular airport, there was like an information booth. I don't even know if I've ever seen an information booth in an airport before, or at least I missed it, and I actually had a question. And so I went up to the man that was manning the information booth, and I asked whatever my question was. I've never met anyone that so enjoyed giving me the answer than this person.
Yeah.
He made my airport experience. I felt better. He was oozing with like enjoyment on sharing, and I said, oh my God, this is a man that just loves what he's doing. I mean, I don't know if at 15 years old he said, I want to be in an information booth in an airport, but I'm telling you, at that moment, he really looked like he was loving what he was doing. So it's just something that you have to really try, because when I go by like a playground and I see kids like screaming and yelling, I'm like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. How do you like maintain that? And so for me at Bigelow, I try to create an environment where everyone's going to be different enthusiastic levels. I get all of that, and different volumes of speaking and all that. But I want to create an environment where you want to bring yourself, all of you. I don't want any airs. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of that. So, you know, I try to create that place to keep that enthusiasm, because it is so beautiful. And, you know, if you can hold on to it, it's something you should really try to do. It is a gift. It's a gift for everyone around you, not just yourself. It makes the world a better place. There's no question about it. I still have not forgotten the information man at the airport.
Yeah. It's a mindset, right?
It's infectious. You have so many gifts that are infectious that, you know, that you have to use. They're your gifts to use.
Great. So the next question is about challenges. As we know, life is not always perfect, and we have to learn to navigate around obstacles. And you shared with me a few stories about your typical day is never the same, and that you've experienced obstacles in your career just as everyone else has, and that at times they were overwhelming to you. Can you share some of your experiences and provide examples of how you prioritized your work to be able to take that first step, to have that courage, that confidence when faced with the challenge?
You know, obstacles, I'm sure you guys know. I mean, you're not in your seat today without facing obstacles and how you get around them. I mean, it's just part of life.
Yes.
And sometimes they can just be very, very painful. There's just no question about it. You know, for me, I have had to learn that sometimes the obstacles are so significant, you just need to wallow for a little bit. I don't need anyone to tell me it's going to be okay. I'm going to wallow for a little bit. I'm upset about what's happened. But I've learned to then say, okay, let yourself wallow. Now you need to pick yourself up, and you've got to get to a better place, and that you're the only one that can control that destiny. And I'll give you an example, a very painful one for me. I did a survey, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago with the company. Things were going very well. We had just paid an extra bonus to everybody because sales were growing, and I had just really kind of tried to feel my oats on being the CEO. And, you know, I wasn't really sure what that meant. I had all these other positions, and then once you get the CEO jacket on, you know, I wasn't sure how tough I was supposed to be, or I kind of a little lost identity of who I was. And I think I was maybe trying to be something that I don't think is natural for me initially. So we do this survey, and it's, you know, we have 400 employees, and you can see the normal tensions in the plants, because each division did it, each plant did it, and I'm reading them all, and I'm seeing the normal tensions, and I can tell, oh yeah, this person's writing about that one, I know they don't really get along, and all the good stuff. Like, just to make sure that there's nothing serious inside the organization. That's what we're trying to ferret out and just get a general feel of how the employees are doing. And then I got to sales and marketing, which is where I was residing, where I reside and spent the majority of my time. And there were 4 individuals that wrote in this survey, like, really tough things about me, like really not nice, like really. And you could tell they kind of sat together and did it. They used the same words. They even misspelled the same words. I mean, I was like, oh man, Jesus, do spell check for God's sakes. And I was hurt. I was really hurt because I was working a lot of hours and the businesses were doing really well and I just paid this bonus out and I was just so mad. I mean, I was saying not nice things in my head like, well, what if I sell the business? Not good, all right? Not nice stuff. And I was very upset and for a short period of time when I was fine walking around on the other floor saying hello. When I got to the floor where I reside, I literally had to just look at my assistant who were like sisters and I just had to get to her and do my thing and whatever. And so after really a few weeks of feeling really bad for myself and being very angry, I said, all right, this isn't working. You are the CEO. Pull yourself up there, honey, and let's start to do this the right way. And so I had to really try to take the comments, put them into buckets, recognize what was maybe the factors behind some of these things that I could work on. I started to have these difficult conversations from humility. It's not anybody else's fault. If that's how they feel, then that's how they feel. And my actions have created that. And I didn't take the position that, oh, I'm the CEO, I can act and do what I want. I had to say, no, just, I don't care if you don't believe them. This is what they said, and you need to change. And so it took a while for me to build the trust back up with because I did more damage after getting the survey and acting like a brat than I did from the 4 people in the survey. So I now had damage control to do. And so it took me 6 months to really prove to them that I've heard this and I'm really trying to change. Good, hard communications, good, humbling conversations. And I am happy to say, well, listen to me, I haven't done another survey since, but that's not funny. So anyway, I'm actually getting bold enough to try one this next year. But no, but you could just tell by the energy and the floor what was happening there. Yeah. And the greatest fallout was that my other vice presidents came to me and they said, oh my God, if you can work on changing yourself that hard, that much, then we can too. And it set the whole stage of role modeling that you can self-reflect and get to a better place. So obstacles, they're coming. Every single day they're coming. And how you handle them will define who you are as a person. And again, I had to remember I'm a role model. You need to remember your role models. And how I dealt with it was not good. I did a terrible job. But I've learned from that, and I pray to God I never do anything like that again, that's for sure. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've had a few obstacles.
Yeah, that's a great story.
And I'll have a few more, I know.
If you do the next survey, make sure they're all in their own
I'll let you guys
offices.
know about the next survey. I'll send it to Maureen.
Great. Next question is about sustainability. We know how important that is to Bigelow Tea. The culture of your company, as you articulated in your mission, is do the right thing and good things will follow.
Isn't that corny? It's
that
so
is amazing.
corny. I know, but it's so corny. Sorry, keep going. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm going to say it again.
Oh, God.
Do the right thing and good things will follow.
I believe that.
I think it's amazing.
It's
I love
corny,
it.
but I believe it.
Yep. And it's simple. It really tells people, you talked about the postage stamp. You talked about the expense report. Do the right thing and good things will follow. Pretty amazing. You can apply it to so many different things. Tell me about Bigelow Tea's Corporate Responsibility Action Plan for Sustainability. I know it's really important to you.
Well, first thing is, and again, you guys are going to have opportunities in your career to do things. And yeah, sometimes you definitely want to do them because they're good for business, but sometimes you can just do them because you should just do them. And to me, sustainability was just something you should just be doing, not for marketing reasons. And it really started when my kids, who are now, this tells you how long ago this was, are now 27 and 25. I can't get those ages wrong. They get mad at me. 27, 25, got it. They like in like 3rd, 4th grade, whenever you guys are coming home to your like parents and you're showing like recycled stuff that you guys were doing back then, and I'm thinking, wow, this is really cool. And they're teaching the kids in elementary school about this. And I go to the business, I'm like, well, what are we doing about this? And it was like nothing. And so I started to embark on like, well, we really should try. And I didn't have any grand plans of we're going to be this or we're going to be that. I just said, we just all need to try. So let's make a difference. So I put together a team. I didn't put any like goals of we're going to be. I said, let's just do it, whatever it means. We have to be fiscally responsible. I mean, we have a slim margin at Bigelow Tea. There's not that much in a tea bag. So we have to be smart, but we can spend money. We just can't go crazy. And this team started. And the energy and the passion, talk about the word passion, that I started to see take place. Now, as Paul was sharing, because of their work, all I did was create a pathway and continue to say, keep trying and keep going and we could do more. Didn't say what more meant. You know, we are now that zero waste to landfill. And when you make 2 billion bags, there's a lot of waste. So to do zero waste to landfill, to have the solar panel program, have composting, the gardens, and every time the team would come to me, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like they were like, oh, we want to do composting. All I could think about was like rodents and smells. I'm like, we're a tea business.
Yeah.
And they said, no, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I said, all I care about is no rodents, no smell. And they ended up doing this amazing composting program that's something to be so proud of. And then they came back and they said, we want to do like a community garden. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have like a 10 by 20 piece of grass. That's all we have in the whole place. Oh, we'll do it, Cindy. They ended up creating this beautiful community garden. They raise these vegetables. They give like 200 to 400 pounds a year away to the food pantry.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to watch it in action. You know, we make tea, and our green tea is one of our #1 teas, and we call it the green team. So they love all that whole combination between green and green team, and it's really fantastic to watch. And I make every vice president, when they put their goals in every year, they always have to have a greening goal, and they love to come to me and they say, oh God, there's nothing left to do. I'm like, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous comment. Come up with something. You need to show that you really care about it. It's our job. So I'm crazy about the whole sustainability thing. I think it's fabulous. And so we have garbage cans. We have the composting garbage can, we have the recycling garbage can, and then we have the very small, you know, regular landfill garbage can. And it is not uncommon, and my parents can attest, to see me like in the garbage. Who put this in there? This is a recyclable. What are you doing? And they're scared to death because they know they're going to see my little feet sticking out of the bins, like looking for the wrong stuff in the wrong bin. But it's important. It really is important, and we can all make a difference. You guys are way better at this than I am. I'm past whatever. But it's really important, and you've got to take that mission with you. And you can go into businesses and take other passions with you, you know? So that's what I love. That's a really exciting one in our company, and I'm very proud of it. And I've done very little except for just to say,
Well, you lead by example. I mean,
well,
going
yeah,
in and pulling
going in the
something
garbage
out.
can. I don't
Yeah,
expect
that's a
anybody
pretty
else to
strong
go in the
example.
garbage can.
Okay, this next one is about product development.
Okay.
And because we're in a university, I actually did a little research. And you may not know this, but tea is the most widely consumed beverage in the world next to water. It can be found in almost 80% of the households in the United States. And on any given day, over 159 million Americans are drinking tea.
It's true. It's a true fact. I checked it out.
Yes, I did too. Yes, we have to reference everything here. And the great news for Bigelow Tea is that the industry is predicted to continue to grow, that there will be strength in the specialty tea market, which is what you specialize in. And my favorite is, by the way, mango green tea. Love it. My favorite. What is the process at Bigelow Tea to identify new flavors and product development?
Well, first of all, how many people in here drink tea? Oh, this is a good group.
Wait, Mom. Okay.
This is a good group. Okay, how many of you drink hot tea? Oh, it's the same number of hands. Yes. All right, how many of you guys drink Bigelow tea? Okay, you can lie. The rest of the hands can go up. No, my father raised his hand. I hope you drink Bigelow tea, young man.
Is there any other?
No. Exactly. My mother said, is there any other? So product development is very, very fun. I have to say it's one of the most fun parts of the business. And we get all of our ideas, just like you guys do, from all kinds of things. So it might be in the spice world, in the restaurant, what are the food hot trends? Obviously what's happening in different beverages. I often don't look in the tea category for our inspiration. I look way outside of that. And then, you know, we start ruminating over it, and we decide if we think that the tea industry is really, you know, ready to try some of these things. So, for example, it was a craze years ago for these flavored coffees, right? Dunkin' Donuts was coming out with all these flavored coffees, and vanilla, pumpkin, and I was like, this is great. I think we should do the same thing in the tea industry. And when we brought the idea back, there were a lot of people that like gave me that smelly cheese look, like, what? And so I said, no, I think we're ready. So we kind of have this innovation team. We designed like these, pumpkin teas and vanilla caramel teas, and they took off. They were unbelievably well received. So the timing was good. And then, then this whole probiotic craze came in, which has been a huge deal. So it took us 2 years. It takes us some time to really create these things, but it took us 2 years to work with this probiotic company called Ganadin to come up with a probiotic tea and put the right amount in there, that it actually has value, which is the other thing that a lot of companies don't do. They cut corners there, which we don't. And so that is now almost our #1 tea. The problem is we don't make any money on it, so every time you guys buy a box, it's a crusher, but that's okay. But it's so, it's such a great thing to go to other categories, right? So went to pharmaceutical category, went to the coffee category. So really innovation, you guys know this, many of you, this is what you're doing, is really looking at creative ways to do things, is really very fun, and inspiration can come from anywhere, that's for sure. It's great, we love it. It's been very successful for us. We just launched, it's called the Benefit Line, and what we did is we tried to create like a wellness tea without having to be a supplement, and a wellness tea that you could drink multiple cups a day, so you can drink it and your body's good for it, doesn't get dependent on it, and all those other things. And so we launched this wellness teas. We took 7 issues that are taking place in the United States of America that are pretty significant issues, and we built all the products around it to service that. These are not medicines by any means. They're not going to cure anybody, but they're help bodies from an immune perspective or just be healthy. And I'll tell you, we've never had such a successful launch.
That's
so
great.
It's really
That's
fun.
great.
Innovation's great. We love that.
You're actually providing us real value here, because the university is introducing a new college, the College of Food and Innovation and Technology, in the fall. And I know all of our students who are at Harborside right now that are watching this through video conferencing, you're speaking to them about what they truly are passionate about, and that's about food and health and how the two are connected. And seeing what you're doing, I think, just resonates with all of us here. It's the right direction that the university is going in.
I mean, we have stuff in our pipeline for the next 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
And the whole fun of innovation is sort of kind of understanding the consumer and the audience, what you're serving it to, and then just trying to push that a little bit, push it a little bit past the comfort zone, because you want to get out there before everybody else gets out there, right? With whatever it is that you're creating. So yeah, it's been a very successful formula in our growth, is the innovation.
Okay, great. So we have our last question before we're going to open it up to the audience.
I knew when you looked over there that something was coming. That's kind of their version of, like, I think, a hook.
Yes, I got the hook, and here we go. So this one's about female leadership in the Me Too movement today. I'm proud to say that Bigelow Tea and Johnson & Wales University has something in common. Both organizations were founded by women. We were founded by Gertrude Johnson and Mary T. Wales in 1914.
I could have corrected you on that.
Yeah, thank you. I've said that about 1,000 times,
I know,
so I don't know how I did that.
When you started with Mary, I was like, it's the other one
No,
first.
it's the other. It's Gertrude first. I even know Mary T. Wales, so how I did that, I don't know.
Because we're all human, that's why.
That's right. And Bigelow Tea was founded by your grandmother, Ruth Campbell Bigelow, over 70 years ago. When you think about that, it was before women had the right to vote, that here were these 2 women that started, or 3 women that started these wonderful organizations. Bigelow Tea continues to be led by a woman, with you here today, and we recently had our investiture, where we had our first female chancellor, Dr. Mim Rooney. Yes, you can clap for that. For both of you, really. You and Dr. Rooney are an inspiration. Can you share with us unique challenges that you faced as a female leader?
How much time do we have?
Yeah.
No, I'm not kidding. How much time? I got to be
Lisa,
careful.
we
I got
have-
some stories that are
We
whatever.
have 5
Beautiful.
minutes. You're good. We
I
have
got
5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll try to be respectful of the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, first of all, and I can't speak for you, ma'am, I try to make sure, though, that I present myself as a leader that is a female and not the other way around. You do not want to label, in my opinion, yourself with you're a female or you're a leader. I'm a CEO, and I obviously I know I'm a female, but I like to try to present myself in a way that pretty soon that's no matter how you look at me, eventually you look at me as a leader first. I often am asked the question, in relationship to females and what their skill sets are. That's a dangerous place to go. I'm not going to stereotype every female as the same. I'm not going to stereotype every man as the same. I'm not going to say every female can make a great leader, and I'm not going to say every man can make a great leader. You certainly do need, I think, different qualities, but you need qualities to be able to to be somewhat, I consider, inspirational for people to hopefully want to follow you. I will say, if I'm going to do any kind of categorizing of women, I think there is an opportunity for women to be very empathetic. I think that's a good element of my leadership style, is that I am empathetic. That doesn't mean every female is and every male is not. But that's been very helpful for me in leading the business. But there is no question of being a female that we have all obstacles. I have the funniest story. I was in a panel, I won't even say where, so you can't look it up, because you guys can, I can no more say it, you guys can find it. And I was on with 2 male CEOs, and there was about 500 people in the audience. And the first question came, and the first male CEO started answering it. And in my opinion, he was just answering it all about himself and not about the audience, which is not my style anyway. It really should be about you guys. And for some reason with that, he stood up and he said, "Isn't she cute?" And he kissed me on the cheek. And I was like, oh my God. And my heart was like racing, because I did not know what to do. I mean, personally, I did not feel it was appropriate in front of 500 people that just met me to slug him, although that is what I wanted to do. But I had to really just recognize that I have 500 people that I'm trying to role model in front of. I have the most rude individual next to me. And so he goes on and on and on, and I have to wait. I have to wait for my time. I say, when you run into these obstacles, I personally prefer the panther mode. So I'm ready. With that little smile. And so then they, luckily, fortunately, ask me a question, and I have an opportunity to really turn it into the audience. And then they ask another question, and you can see that sort of kind of this changing a little bit more to be more about a more aspirational conversation that's a little more positive. So he gets up after now about 15 minutes, and he goes to try to kiss me again. And at this point, I know that the room is in a good place. They kind of know who I am a little bit. It's got a better feel what's happening in the room. And as he comes toward me, I look at him, I go, "You touch me, you're going to be in huge trouble." And he sat back down, and he said, "Oh, she hates me like my wife who just divorced me."
Oh.
And I just did not ever change. I stayed very professional, very kind, and just try to really present myself like I wanted the audience to look at me and not react how I really would want to until it was a time that I could use that in that setting. But there's just times you're dealing with stuff that's crazy, but you kind of have to really, in my opinion, take the time to deal with that obstacle in a way that, as I said before, you're going to look back on yourself and you're going to be proud on how you dealt with it. And in that particular case, I was very blessed. I could put him back, really back on his heels. I actually could make him look like the not nice person that he was. And I could still present myself with the grace that I try to do in a large setting. So it is important as a female to, we're going to be dealing with these things, but at the same time, I still want to do it in a way that I'm role modeling about being a positive leader who happens to also be a female.
It sounds like you were really gracious to him. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, I would like to turn to our audience, whether it's a question from our branch campuses or the Harborside campus. I believe we have a microphone over here.
Oh, that's so great.
Perfect.
I love when you guys ask me questions. Thank you. Makes me feel like you care.
All right, so I was listening and I noticed that you said something about being careful about being creative, and I wanted to ask you, what exactly is too creative?
What is exactly to be?
What do you exactly mean by be careful by being creative?
Oh,
being
great.
creative.
Oh, you picked that up, my mistake? Yeah. Jeez. I'm going to make sure that we all understand that phenomenal question, which I'm so sorry that he picked up on.
Makes you feel good.
I said that there's other pathways you have to find, and you need to be creative. But we have to be careful, because in this seat, there's all kinds of creative things I could do that I'm not going to look back and be proud of myself. It's going to be a slippery slope. So I'm very careful when I use that word creative, because Enron was very creative as well. So that's why I index back after I use that word, because I do think we have to we're responsible for the words we use, and that's a word that could possibly be misconstrued. So thanks for bringing that up, because that is a very important point. And again, you guys, that's what I say, when you make these decisions early on, they're going to become habits, and they're going to define who you are. And so use that word creative carefully. Great
Great
question.
question.
We have a question from our North Miami campus.
Hi, North Miami.
What advice do you have for first-time entrepreneurs when things aren't going right?
Well, that's not uncommon, right? So I guess what I would do is really maybe start with laying out what isn't going right and maybe what is going right. And maybe are there those that can help counsel you with how to get over those obstacles that are not going right? Do you need help from somebody that can help you with some of these areas? Let's just say your product isn't resonating. I'm going to make this up because I'll try to make it more relatable for specific answers. So if the product isn't really selling well, maybe the first thing you have to say is, okay, how are you distinguishing it, whether your service or your product? Are you not distinguishing it in a way that's making sense? Are you not messaging it in a way that people can relate to? So find out where you're not doing well and really ask some people around you that maybe are good on the subject and challenge yourself in how can you can pivot it. And that was my example of like when a product is not going well. I talked to a woman the other day from graduate school. Her business wasn't doing well. And I said, well, give me your 30-second elevator speech of what your business is. She couldn't do it. I go, well, how can you have a business that, yeah, your business isn't doing well, because I don't even know, after 60 seconds, I still don't know what your business is. So it's turning to someone that can maybe help you kind of encapsulate where it isn't going right, and then how do you get around that?
Great.
I hope that helped at all, North Miami.
We have a question over here.
We have a question from our Charlotte campus from Suny, Latria, and the question is, what do you consider to be the 3 most important qualities for a good leader?
Well, first of all, it was a shame I also didn't mention what just happened in North Carolina.
Yes.
It was such a shame
Yes.
with that student. It's a little hard for me to get in front of students after just what happened to that young student trying to protect the rest of that class. So,
He was very brave.
yeah, that's whatever. That's so sad to me. What are the 3 qualities of leaders? First of all, there are no 3 qualities because every one of you are different, and every one of you have to find what your best qualities are and really develop those qualities. And you have to find out, like I just said, your qualities that aren't so good, and you got to work on those too, all right? But for me, what I try to use is being, well, I think the first one, it sounds a little boring, but you have to be a good communicator. We talked before about a company isn't doing well. You have to be able to really message in a way that people can relate and, in my opinion, want to follow. So your ability to communicate and articulate in a way that people can understand what you're saying is very, very important. The other thing is you have to understand as a leader, you are a role model. I've said it many, many times today. You are a role model in everything you do, and it's not always what you do in good times, or you're really a role model what you are in not so good times. So you've got to understand at all moments you're a role model that are watching, and whatever you're doing and whatever your actions are, that's the standard for everybody else. You can't have one standard and they have another. So, good communication, understand you're a role model, and then for me, it's just, talked about enthusiasm before. It's about being genuine. It's just being who you are and don't lose sight of that. I would be so sad if all of who you are today, when you go wherever pathway you go, you can't bring who you are. You need to be genuine. The more genuine you are, the more genuine the people next to you can be, the more relatable they can be, and the more you can really sort of jump in with both feet because it's all of you. So those would be the 3 qualities I would say.
Here's a question from our Providence Harborside campus. What regions of the world do your favorite ingredients or tea blends come from?
Great question.
Well, where does our teas, some of our favorite?
Yeah.
Well, I have had to embark on a journey of learning tea and the quality for the last 10 years, because as a CEO, I really needed to really understand what quality means, because it's a really easy word to use, but I mean, what does it mean? You got to really understand that. So I've embarked on going to the countries where we buy our tea, and so one of my best experiences was, which also just went through an unbelievable tragedy, is Sri Lanka. And I was actually in one of the hotels that one of the bombs went off in, and I have to tell you, the people of Sri Lanka, no matter what their religion, are the most beautiful, loving people. And we get our teas at the very, very top of the mountains, which is very difficult to get to. And the passion of watching these people do their thing with tea, and how much they love tea, and how much it's so much part of their economy up there. So Sri Lanka was an experience I won't ever forget. I just came back from the fields in Nebraska where we get our chicory, and just seeing, you know, these farmers and farms and families that are dedicated to producing the best chicory. So I don't have a favorite. Everywhere I go, I'm in awe of the passion behind each botanical. We buy over 200 botanicals. Each one of them has a story. Each one of them have people behind it that love this particular botanical. And I have so much I learned from each one. So I don't have a favorite. Sorry.
Hi,
Providence.
you mentioned the
Other campus.
importance of sustainability in your company, and though sustainability isn't just about like the earth and planet factor, it's also about the people too regarding human rights. Do you find that there have been changes in this area as well once you decided to implement sustainable ideologies about 15 years ago?
So let me make sure, because there's all kinds of sort of individuals that we're working with. Are you talking about from more of the gardens or more of the business?
On both sides overall.
Okay, let's start with the gardens. The gardens are obviously get a lot of attention. I am going to tell you that not all gardens are the same. Easy for me to say, right? How are you going to prove that? But I was recently in Assam, and the gardens that we were at, they're very, very careful on the pesticide usage, right? So I'm in a garden, and they have this little white flag. I don't remember if it was white or pink first, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. A little white flag sticking out of the bush. And I said, what's the deal on the bush here? And they said, come over here, look at the leaf. It's brown, it's curled over. This is a beetle. So we're going to just spray around this area here. We're going to wait 7 days. We change the flag to pink, whatever what the other one was. We wait another 7 days, and we harvest. And these guys are covered. Garden across the way, as we're driving, I go, would we ever buy from that garden? He goes, no, we don't trust the MRLs. Those are the regulation levels, so it's allowed. These guys were spraying like this. I'm not going to lie to you. Over everything. So the reason we've been in the business for 70 years is we only use the same gardens and the same people, because it's very important. We're not in every garden. We're not in every garden. So you need to make sure that you are working with who you believe are the ones that have a long-term vision, because if they have long-term vision in those gardens, they're going to do the right thing. They have to do the right thing, or they're not going to get the people to pluck the tea leaves. So we're very careful, but you have to pay a premium, obviously, for that. So I can tell you a lot of the problems that they've had in India are in the gardens that those teas are being consumed by the people in country. Soon as they have to either go to Europe or the United States, the standards change and the gardens change. So I'm not here to tell you it's perfect. It's not. But it's very important that we do our best, and I'm very proud of all the gardens I've been to. And every time there's a garden that's a problem, I immediately get on the line to say, is that one of our gardens? Thank God it never has been. So that's a great question. In terms of the individuals in our organization, yeah, I mean, I can't say my sustainability actions have made a difference in their lives, except for that we work every day, my parents and myself, to make sure we're creating a really great environment. And I don't think we'd have employees that have been there 20, 30, and 40 years. I mean, we are so blessed because they could do anything, and they choose to make a tea bag 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, right? You got to appreciate that, and they need to know how sincere you are with that. So I'd like to say the sustainability didn't influence that, but our philosophy and our appreciation and our love is what made it different for the employees back home.
All right, we have time for one last question.
All right, this is from our Denver campus.
Hi, Denver.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone starting their career, what would it be?
Next. One piece of advice. That's a great question. I don't know. If I had one piece of advice starting their career,
Don't be afraid.
just know that you're doing your best. It might not be a great first step. It might be a great first step. I have no idea. But just be patient with yourself and learn and know that you are controlling your destiny. You are controlling who you are. You will create the environment around you. It's easy for me to say. How do I look at young people and say, be patient with yourself? You've got so many pressures from so many areas there. And just keep doing the best you can do. Know you're not perfect. I certainly know I'm not perfect. And just understand the journey's going to be like this. And as long as you're learning everything, good, bad, and ugly, the dots are going to connect in a good way. They're going to connect in a good way. You're going to be a better person. You're going to be a person you're going to be proud of. So it's going to be curvy. I don't know, that kind of stunk as an answer. I'm really sorry.
No, that was a great answer.
It's just such
Absolutely.
a hard answer. It's so hard, you know?
No, I think you did a great job. Just have
Yeah.
courage, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Well, it's easy for me to say. I hate that when I'm not doing well. People say, oh, you'll be fine. Don't tell me I'm going to be fine. I'm completely stressed out of my mind right now.
You don't look it. Well, that concludes our interview or our chat with Cindy Bigelow. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you,
perspective
guys.
with us today.
Should I get up?
We are so honored because tomorrow Cindy will be receiving our most prestigious award, an honorary doctorate of business administration from our graduate studies. So congratulations and best of luck with that.
Thanks, guys.
And I will turn it over to Paul.
Cindy, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. Your student host, Gabby, wants to thank you. Gabby is pleased to present a gift on behalf of all of our students in appreciation of your participation as Johnson & Wales University's first VIP.
Oh, my God, the first VIP.
Thank you very much.
No pressure there. Right. Thanks, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay, want me to take it? You want me to open it? What do you want me to do?
We also have...
Oh, we have something else, more.
Yes. We also have a certificate to present in recognition of your outstanding commitment and contribution to industry excellence. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Are we all in a photo here?
We are, yeah.
Okay, just
Is it a good
instruct
spot?
me.
Oh, he's
Wait,
coming
can
over.
everybody be seen here? What, you want me to hold on to that?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
good.
so. That's yours.
Is your hair fixed?
Oh, yeah, my hair's fine, I guess. Look over here, okay.
Thank you. Great.
Good?
Thank you.
Did you blink?
Okay, I don't know. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Okay, this is awesome.